Hi, my name is Kai Stinson, and again today I'm going to be using the CoDap website to explain a typical statistical problem that you would use in a high school setting in the Math 1 Unit 6, primarily taught to mostly sophomores or maybe an honors class to freshmen. Let's begin. So what I'm going to do is I need to answer a few questions here, and we're going to be looking, as you can see, at roller coasters. One of my favorite things to actually look at. I like roller coasters. So first off, let's take a look here. We're going to compare the speeds of older and newer roller coasters to how recent the coaster is. So first, let's take the year that it was open and drop that on the x-axis, and I'm going to take the year and the top speed and drop that on y. And that's going to give me some kind of some kind of line or trend that would occur that I can at least observe going up something like this, probably some kind of exponential growth as we get closer into the 2000s. And already off the bat, the first observation I'm going to make is that the more recent roller coaster, the faster it's going to be. If you look basically around in the 2000s, there's a massive speed difference between that and a coaster that basically was in the 1980s. We can see there's a huge jump in here. The fastest coaster right here, which was in 2003, was, let's see right here, that was the Top Thrill Dragster, and that's at Cedar Point in Ohio, in Sandus, Ohio. I think I'm saying that right. Am I saying that right? Yeah, Sandusky, Ohio. So which that's kind of interesting because I think that, yes, there is definitely a difference between the top speed of a coaster of older and newer and also more recent. If you take a look, coasters that basically were anywhere between, I'd say, 2000 and, let's take a look here, in 2010 had a huge speed increase. There's a lot more coasters breaking the top speed records, trying to push that boundary up higher and higher and higher. As we can see, that one's sitting a little over at, or sitting either at or a little over 120 miles per hour. And the next closest runner-up is at 100, and that one was made before 1997. And that one refers to the Superman the Escape at Six Flags in California. Now, I definitely think that there's a correlation here because as time's gone on, technology's gotten better, resources have gotten, computer software and analytics have gotten better to where we can push the limit of infrastructure to say how fast and how many G's and how much force can we put on a human body without being legally obligated to answer the call of any medical injuries. And then you notice that there's a dip. Now, I think there is a correlation to this because if we go back and look at history, there's not many roller coasters being made at this point, at least recently, up until the most recent one was in 2016, according to the data that we have here. And I think the speed increase has to do with the event of like the recession and the economic situation being that we didn't have the money to use those resources. We had them, but we didn't have the money. So I think that is the correlation on why there's this kind of bell curve developing, and I think it actually resembles that of the market in the United States and possibly even the world to a certain degree. So let's move on from that next question, which is, does the type of material a roller coaster is built on make a difference in the speed? Before I put it in, I would say yes, I definitely think it does, but let's take a look. I'm going to get rid of this real quick, and we're going to go grab the material. So let's go to type or material, and we're going to drop down here. And let's see. So yeah, there's a big difference. As you can see here, there's not many wooden roller coasters out there as it is that are left or at least running. Steel, there's multiple, and there is a huge difference in speed. I mean, we're looking at top speeds. There's 50, we have 55, we have 60, and it's just going to go up and up. The highest roller coaster with the top speed that's wood is 78, and that pales in comparison to the Big Daddy up here at 120 miles per hour. So there's definitely a correlation between material types because steel is smoother. There's less friction. It can take more punishment, and it has a bit more robustness, if you will, to it. The next one we're going to talk about, let's take a look at the next question, which is, if you were going to ride a coaster that was built before 1980, what would you expect for a typical top speed? What about if you're riding a new roller coaster and why? So let's take a look at a coaster from 1980. So I'm going to get rid of the types again. I'm going to remove the type, and I'm going to go grab my time again, year opened, and let's go take, let me try that again. There we go. 1980. The top speed of a coaster around 1980 was 66 miles per hour, with the second one being 1979 at 65 miles per hour. Now, the most recent coaster that was opened is clocking in at, if I can get the highlight. Come on, highlight. No, I won't highlight. Oh well. Oh, because I think I had these selected. Anyway, point is that the most recent roller coaster, as far as like time-wise, is up in here in the 2015, 2016 area, which if we go here, that's 2016. The highest speed roller coaster is in Carowinds, which is Fury 325, clocking at 95 miles per hour. Do I necessarily then think there is a correlation to the speed depending upon, or like what I would expect in speed depending on the year? Definitely. I definitely think that if I'm going to a park today, I expect roller coasters to be pushing anywhere between 60 to 80 miles per hour on average. I mean, I've been, if you go, it's not on here, but oh yes, it is. It's right there. Which is, well, no, that's a different type of cheetah. That's in Georgia. But if there, I know the cheetah, for example, which is unfortunately not on here, is a good example of that, which also displays technology advancement, because instead of using chains to use potential energy to generate a roller coaster, then have it, go down the track, you have them usually basically using magnets. And the same principle behind like the maglevs in Japan, and the cheetah run is a perfect example of that in Busch Gardens down in Florida. I've been on that, and that coaster's average speed is basically simulating that of a cheetah, which I can do a quick Google search, and I don't want to spew numbers out, which I know is very fast. I want to say they can push over 100. I'm pretty sure they can. So I don't know if it's beating 120, but it's probably gosh darn near close. And I'm willing to bet that while both coasters are steel, that the top thrill dragster more than likely uses magnetic-based propulsion to get the cars moving. That's probably how that works, because that's the only way you can get up to that speed without having to go extremely high and waste more resources trying to build high towering coasters. And I definitely think that you can look at the correlation to height to speed as well, and that might also tell you something. Which I will move over and see if max height's 420. If we go back to the Carowinds, the max height is 325. So clearly that these two more likely are using potential energy instead of using just brute force magnets to do it. There's another coaster in here that had the same thing, which was the Twizzler. Same principle. Now moving on to the last question here. I added this prematurely just to save some time so I could discuss those points with in the video. But let's take a look at this coaster Extreme that I put in, which is in, Blue Bayou, Dixieland in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And and the question is, how does this new case fit within the analysis you just did? Does this new case change any claims or interferes with anything I stated? Well, it was founded in 2007, which makes it right here, and it's on average probably in the average of this the third slowest coasters, next to this one right here, which was the Big Bad John in Magic Springs, Arkansas, with a top speed of 37, and this one has a top speed of 37.3. So it's slightly faster. I think that it still kind of follows my analysis in terms of this bell curve. Yes, the average slowest coasters you can see are kind of absent here because we were starting to get more technology faster and faster. We could get them faster. So there should be an absent here, and then you should be starting to see an increase in slower coasters as time goes on due to the fact that we don't have the money or the resources to put towards making these giant behemoths go faster, as well as the medical risk involved, obviously, I mentioned earlier. So I still believe that my claims stand as firm, taking into account the external factors of cost and production and management and materials. On that note, that is my last question. I hope you enjoyed tuning in the video, and I hope this shows a good example of my skills on how to use a statistics-based and analytics-based software such as CoDap. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.